in all of its denominations around the world was actually created. It was created to build one family of man and to tend to that family of man as one flock of children with a spiritual overtone, with a spiritual passion, with a spiritual curiosity to explore not only themselves, but everything and anything around themselves, and to understand and to build on that understanding so that in turn it would become knowledge and eventually become wisdom.
Let me expound on that now, folks, because we are curiosity-driven, questioning, and the Q. And what I was talking about, LGBTQ, was meaning the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender culture also has a Q, which can be for questioning, but it can also stand for queer, according to the USA Today network, which a lot of people respect. And this has been around since 2015 in the USA Today network. So just so you know, that they actually quoted what experts and individuals in the individual gay community said Q means. So it's been around 5 years that we've been historically sharing queer means many things. Questioning means many things. So you may be an ET, you may be an alien, you may be an Argonaut, you may be an astronaut, you may be under an umbrella term that encompasses all kind of hats. And we claim oracles, psychics, sages, seers, shaman. And I had to learn that, MOPS. If you want to say M, mystics, oracles, O, P, psychics, S, sages, seers, and shaman. Wait, M-A-P, does say S? Yeah, it does say M-O-P-S. So yes. MOPS is the umbrella term for our church, plus LGBTQ also. But now that is getting into human rights, and we're going to be considered educational, spiritual science, philosophy, but representing universal light, universal faith, wisdom and knowledge, and curiosity seekers. For certain, I need you to understand that some people on this planet, which I'm very well aware of because I had a twin brother and sister, but some people are born with both genders and have to figure out. Some are called morphodites, and I'm just going to touch very simply on the fact that these are biological entities that are carbon-based units, such as myself and Richard. I haven't seen Richard except in internet, but I do believe in his higher soul. So I believe he is soul, and we are going to also get involved in AI, because one of my missions on planet Earth as an extraterrestrial walking around on the planet with knowledge, Richard and I are the two witnesses for this time in the Ascension Age, with knowing we've had very old world returns and being people who know of their being as reincarnated souls, accepting that there are many beings that have been brought forth in many different languages as well as genders, and some both male and female. So that is not necessarily something as a human right that should be questioned, because some are born with both. So where do we put them? We put them in our religion, Ascension Church Ohana. To you, wherever you want to go with this, Rick.
Well, we're covering quite a bit of ground, but at the same time, we're also unleashing a great deal of understanding, knowledge, and even some wisdom in regards to not only where is the church coming from, but we also, as its pastors, are coming from as given individuals. And, I mean, you know, I've always lived a life with high ethical morals, and I've always basically assisted those that you would basically kind of phrase as the downtrodden, because the downtrodden in life usually are those that don't make enough to barely survive, or they're kind of outcasts of society, such as the homeless, although the homeless to some degree outcast themselves, and then otherwise are people in circumstances that fell on them beyond their control, and put them in a situation where they found themselves and sometimes their entire family on the street. We are a church of complete and utter compassion, a church of understanding, a church of empathy, a church that is compassionate to the extent anyone, regardless of what state of being or even what stage of life they may be in. And I don't believe, historically speaking, there has ever been such a church. So we are making history just by the very creation and foundation of this church upon this day in and of itself, simply because all religious bodies and traditions all have biases, and they all believe themselves to be the only way. The same is also true of all hidden mystical schools of esotericism, because, again, they all believe themselves to be the only way. We are now saying that no, in actuality, there is one way, but that all ways, in a manner of speaking at least, lead to the same place. So we are all here on a vasty of journeys, okay? But yet at the same time, we all come together because we're all humans. We're all carbon-based units, you know. Now, when you start speaking our consciousness and our spiritual essence and that kind of thing, then, of course, you get out to other universes, to the cosmos, to creation itself, possibly within even the validation of being creators on a godly sense form, okay? Because in reality, that's exactly what we are. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we create everything that happens to us in our immediate environment. Yet, as a race, consciously, we create everything that is within our environment that the rest of the race can enjoy. When we talk about ascending and ascension, you're talking about a passion that the race itself, as a race of human beings, is driven towards now. Because religion did not hold or answer the questions that were being asked. It did not have the answers. So it's not that religion is stagnant, because it, like anything else, changes and travels and diverts and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, philosophy, theology, science, all of these things are not static either. Again, they move forward and they move forward and they move forward. And now, of course, we are either into or on the very cusp of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the watcher bringer, the bringer of life. And of course, life in all of its varied forms make up the mix kind as a race and as one family of man. And therefore, we are all connected. We are all a part of each other. Oftentimes, you know, when we come together in relationships, we actually reflect back to our partners what they are sharing with us. And what we are, they see, and as we see them. And oftentimes in relationships, if the relationship becomes extremely sensitive, you could say that the partners over time actually become one being, because they merge in a love and an intimacy on a spiritual level that is beyond actual words. Okay, so I mean, we have Kundalini, we have the schools of yoga, we have the Sufis, we have the Hindu mystics, we have all of these various traditions, and they all add to the same storyline, because if you were to take all the world religions combined, you would find that there is a thread that runs through them all, where they are all in complete adamant agreement in regards to there being one source of creation, and that this source of creation created, you could say, sons and daughters which became gods and goddesses down through traditions, or were identified as being superior beings with abilities far beyond those of regular men or women. But at the same time, if you take it from the standpoint that historically we have built upon civilization to get to where we are now. So here comes the big question and the curiosity: where is it we're going next?
The future with all of us is the word we use, and in the Hyperion family, we accept Father God and Mother God, so Uranus and Gaia. So a lot of people aren't familiar with mythology because they didn't have it in school. But I want to say that we are writers and we use audiovisual to teach. But in Greek mythology, Hyperion was one of the high ones, one of the 12 children of Titan. And this is something that children watch, are superheroes that come down from the Uranus and Gaia, our Mother God and Father God. So these are things Hyperion was told that he was the first to understand by diligent attention and observation the movement of both the sun, the moon, the stars, the seasons that cause these bodies, and in fact was not known to many others. So the reason that his father called these bodies different names, so these words became known in our mythology. So if you get to name something like Uranus and Gaia did as their father of Helios, Hyperion was regarded as the first principle. So we should honor that notice of theurgy and the beautiful way that there are some Hyperions that believe simply in logic and reasoning, and we understand that's out of mythology. All right, so let me read you what Greek mythology, Hyperion Titan. In Greek mythology, Hyperion, the High One, was one of the 12 Titan children of Gaia, Earth, and Uranus, Sky. So think about where all our words come from and how our ancient beings that were before us, our fathers and mothers and their parents, and their parents and their parents before them, if you go all the way back, they had their own language. And a lot of people over time decided to call it not philosophy, but it's a type of Greek mythology. So these earth and sky people were led by Cronus to overthrow their father, Uranus, and they themselves were overthrown by the Olympians. Now, this is where we get a lot of our movies and our superheroes with capes and the old gods and Superman, and all these things are used as archetypes. But Thea, with his sister, let's see, the children of Gaia, Earth, and Uranus, led by Cronus. A lot of y'all have heard about Cronus. He overthrew their father, Uranus, and was later overthrown by the Olympians, with his sister, the Titaness, Thea, Theia. And that, believe it or not, Thea is another name like Gaia, like Mother Earth. And my name was Ta-Ra-Sa, or Ta-Ra-Sa, like the Egyptian. But in the old days, I was Thea and Thera. And that comes with Atlantis and Atlanteans and Mu. But in this case, in mythology, Hyperion father Helios, the sun, and Selene, moon, and Eos, dawn. My daughter's name is Angela Dawn. But John Keats abandoned his poem, Hyperion, is among the literary works that feature this figure. Now, we can go on and on about words that came from myth and legends, but in our genealogies of people, we, through time, and we will study ancient cultures and New Thought teachings, but many of our stories that we tell ourselves and our children over time deal with myth and legends. So that, too, is something that is very beautiful. We have poets and people that write and people that talk and people that make audio video. Wow, we still have 27 minutes left. I don't know why this seems so long today. It seems longer than usual. Is it because we have to cover more ground or something to set this up? According to Plato, Alexandria, Atlantis, Mu, before the demiurge, before the Akkadians, before the Anunnaki, gods that were from the heavens came, all those things are considered that we will touch upon in future shows. Maybe I should mention UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UFOs, unidentified flying objects, UAVs, unidentified anomalous vehicles, or unidentified aerial vehicles. We have a group that's UAP Associates, ACO Association, We have those that investigate, research, our engineers, scientists, and clergy.